Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and in today's build and play guide, we have the premium ship, the West Virginia. If you didn't know, this is going to play a lot like the Colorado. This is the same class of ships as the Colorado. So for the West Virginia, we are going to go ahead and check out the commander here quickly. I am using New Jersey. I will go over other builds here in a second. Uh, so for inspiration, Scharnhorst if Paulo de Revel. Now, if you do not have Scharnhorst, you can use John Fisher is always a good option, or Cunningham if that's what you choose. Base trait freedom through firepower. And for our skills, we're using Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Firefighter, and don't you love it with the legendary skill of Fight Fire with Fire. Now, if you do not have New Jersey, you can use William Sims as well with the same inspirations that you would use on New Jersey with Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, Reaching Out XXL, again with Fight Fire with Fire. So, if you played Colorado, yeah, this is going to play almost identical to Colorado in a lot of ways. So, for your upgrades here, we are going to go with main battery traverse. AA wouldn't be a terrible option here because it does not have the world's best AA. But getting the guns to turn quick is never a bad option. And for your second mod, you're going to want to take steering gears mod 2 to get this thing to turn pretty quick and be very dodgy of torpedoes. Is something I do quite a bit with my battleships. For your loadouts, you're going to have three not terrible heals. They're not the greatest in the world, but they're definitely not bad. And for your plane or your third slot consumable, I would take the spotter plane. So for the stats on the ship, survivability is 50,000 health. It's not bad, honestly. I think it's about average at the tier. And for guns, you have eight 16-inch guns. Now, granted, these are not Iowas. Iowas are Mark 7s, if I remember right. So these are going to be not as accurate and a kind of lofty. So this is going to play a lot like Colorado, guys. Colorado has guns that sometimes they are lethal as all can be, and then sometimes you can miss a lot of targets with them. It's just kind of is what it is. But these do a very good AP damage of 13,640. You really should be using basically just AP on these American battleships with these the good AP that they do have. For AA, this is one of its weaknesses. It doesn't have great AA. So if you get, that first modification slot where you could boost AA, not a terrible option. That would help with your ranges quite a bit on this, because 4-2 is not ideal. Maneuverability, this is an American Dreadnought. It's slow. It turns pretty well. That's kind of the Dreadnought experience. And for detection, it's a battleship. You're not going to sneak up on a dead moose in open water with it. That's just what it is. For armor, this thing is an American Dreadnought, so it's pretty tanky. We'll take off the torpedo bulge and the superstructure so you can see a little bit better of the armor here. So your belt here is 343 millimeters, so very good belt on this. And the other thing you're going to notice is this bow. The back end has a icebreaker on the back, which is very interesting. Not a full one, but it's definitely extends out 26 millimeter on your stern and bow plating. So 15-inch or better guns can overmatch you. So just, you know, keep that in mind when you're doing that, because on these American dreadnoughts, there's not a whole lot of room in front of that citadel, as you can see there. Now, the back, you're pretty safe on. It'd be pretty hard to get through that back. I mean, you can, but it's going to be a much harder shot than the front. Now, this is the cool thing, like the Colorado, that this has. This is a slightly submerged or pretty waterline citadel. And again, for it being a big old wide dreadnought, Citadel is not a monstrous citadel on it. It's a little long, but it doesn't go the full width of the ship, and very protected. This is a very tanky ship. As we go ahead and start this match and check who we're up against, I do want to say it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide to help out people just learning this ship or learning the game in general. This is not for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything. There is also multiple ways to build and play ships, so opinions will vary. I am just a above average player. I don't claim to be the best player in the world. I just am a pretty darn good player. So I do make mistakes. You're going to see some in this match. And also, you didn't come to this video to see how to pronounce names, as I am very terrible at slaughtering other beautiful languages. It's almost an art form, so keep that in mind when you're watching this, guys. With that out of the way, we are bottom tier, but that's not really going to affect us much, particularly in the West Virginia with the 16-inch guns. I am a big fan of always being bottom tier anyway, but you can see to start off the match, we're going to go ahead and try to get into a better position. I'm aggressive. And with the American dreadnoughts being kind of slow, I always try to kind of go straight in more or less, particularly at tiers 4 through 6. I kind of go more towards the cap. Now, obviously, our destroyer is not going to be much of our help, as you can tell by the start of the match. That's okay, though, because instead of complaining about them, we're just going to play our best game that we can play, personally. So as the Gneisengo pops out, we do get a couple shells and do a 9,000. Now, we only had 2 of the 8 shells hit, but it still did okay damage. And that's the big thing with these guns, these 16-inch Mark 5s. They're more accurate on Constellation, obviously, but on Colorado and West Virginia, these guns have their moments where they're trolly, but when they hit, they do good damage, and you're going to see that. But I think in this match, we don't do nothing epic with damage or nothing, but I think we only hit like 38 shells in this whole thing. But again, tanky. It's a tanky ship that can hit hard sometimes. A lot of times I have a tendency to play the ship close in with good positioning. Because it is pretty hard to citadel for the most part. As you see, the Omaha pops up, and exactly what I'm kind of talking about with these guns is we're going to take our shot here, and at, what are we there, about 14 or 15 kilometers, I think we're only going to hit 2 shells on a Omaha sailing completely straight, not making any changes. But you're going to see later too, they do hit pretty hard. But I do want to stress that about this ship on these guns. It's the same issue Colorado has. You're either going to do a ton of damage or you're going to laugh at how hard you missed. To me, they feel kind of like, at times they have their Japanese battleship moments to them, where they feel like, the same thing that happens on Japanese battleships. Sometimes you get great salvos out of them, sometimes not super wonderful. Anyway, as you can see, we got 2 battleships off to the right. Our mass is spotting them. We have Hyuga in front of us right here. So we are going to actually go ahead and try to hit the Hyuga here. Before he gets behind the mountain, and we're not going to be spotted here, as you can see in a little bit here. We're going to go out, and then we're going to be spotted by a plane. And I was actually confused at first because I didn't know where the plane was that was actually spotting me. But at any rate, we're going to head into the cap here a little bit, because really our big thing is Hyuga. As you can see, there is the planes. the other guys are behind the mountain right now, so they're not getting the world's best shots. As you can see, now they are starting to come out from the mountain, and we're going to go ahead and take a shot at the Hyuga with the back guns. So here I'm trying to get the cap, and then I realize with these guys, I don't want to be in the middle of 3 enemies in this position, so I'm kind of trying to make sure I kite back a little bit here and make sure I'm angled. As you can see, they do take our rear gun out, and we are going to go ahead and take a shot at Hyuga again. Now, sadly, the masses, I don't like to talk bad about teammates. I would have played it differently if I was the mass. I would have kind of worried about the cap more than trying to torpedo battleships. Especially in this moment, as you can see, he gets spotted, and we already do not have another destroyer, and he goes down trying to torp battleships. So, with that, I'm trying to make sure I don't die very quick, because I've been kind of the center of attention for a little bit here now, and our teammate is, the teammate in the Heinrich has moved up to help take some of the pressure off, and you're going to see here, I'm actually trying to just making sure that I'm not going to get murdered here. And if you guys see, there is the Nagato going back behind the mountain, so I realize it is a safe time to go ahead and push, as we have the Fubuki there. And pretty much there's going to be no way for me not to be spotted with Fubuki there. He's going to be spotting me quite a bit if I don't get more into the cap anyway. And it looks like my teammate is sailing through the cap, so we are going to go ahead and try to work our way back into the cap to actually take it, because like I said, at this point it looked like teammate is going to drive through the cap, which I do actually believe he does, because I think he's trying to torp the Hyuga. But here in a second you're going to see Nagato gets spotted again broadside, and if you guys want to see a magic trick, I got one for you. You see a Nagato, and now you don't. Magic man, now you see me, now you don't. We turned Nagato into a submarine, and now our flank is looking like we can definitely win this, because now it's it's a 2v2 here now with Hyuga and the Andreadora. So I'm trying to slow down here to not get spotted so I can take this cap, because we do need this cap. We're losing. We're definitely losing this match right now. They also have 2 destroyers over us as our Heinrich goes down. So I'm trying to be careful. I know that the destroyer is off on the left cap, so I'm trying to use these mountains here to keep me unspotted to complete this capture. And I think that's the thing. When you're in battleships, you 100% can capture bases with them, and you can shoot destroyers. It's surprising how many people don't, as the Fubuki shows up here, and we are going to go ahead and try to get a shot on him quick before we can't. You can see we do get 2 of our shells here, but he smokes up, and this is something I do quite a bit. I know there's torpedoes coming, so I pointed at him, and he can still clearly see me. So with the torpedoes coming, I should have turned a little bit more into the left to not take this one torpedo, but I wanted him to make it think that I was heading to the right side of the island. And the reason for that is if he thinks I'm heading towards the right side of the island, he's either going to go back out of his smoke or stay over here and not go around the mountain, because I want to kill this guy. We're at a definite disadvantage right now. Even we have 2 caps, but they have 2 destroyers, and that is huge. And then with making that move to the right, you can see I know exactly where he is. Like I've pretty much figured out where he's going to be. As you can see in a second here, when I spot him, he's exactly where I had my guns pointed. And this is another reason you don't have why you want to use American AP, even against destroyers. You're going to see, watch this, just absolutely demolish him. And that was with 6 of the guns. So at that distance, obviously, probably all 8 are going to hit. But even with AP, we completely dev strike a destroyer. There's a lot of times even if I know it's a destroyer, like in that scenario, I'm not going to load HE in it. Can HE be better on a destroyer? Yeah, in the right circumstances, it definitely can be. But there's not a whole lot of reasons to go ahead and load it. And, you can if you want, if that's something, and the next shot's gonna be a destroyer. But for the most part, you're definitely the AP will work fine enough. It's good enough where overpins will get it done. So as you can see here, Andrea Doria is over here. We're gonna take a few shots at Andrea Doria and then start to get angled. I'm not going to chase Andrea Doria off the map, particularly because I want to stay over by a B and C kind of here to defend these caps. I'm not chasing them off the map. And a lot of people, kiting only works if you follow people. If you don't follow them, they have no choice but to not try and kite you. And you're going to see that kind of work in a second here. Is the carrier gets spotted. I was hoping I was closer to this carrier, and then the minx is spotted. So this kind of change. I know where all 3 ships are now, and I'm not spotted. So I'm in with my health the way it is. I'm in no rush to get spotted here, but I can assure you that I know at some point where he's sitting, that minx is gonna have to go for B cap to win this now. And then now that he's it's kind of revealed where he's at, I 100% know that he's gonna have to try to take B cap or make a play for it. Otherwise, they're just gonna hands down lose. So there's no reason for me to shoot here, because the Andrea Doria is kiting away. He's in a smoke cloud. I can't see him, and I also can't see the carrier, or I'm not in range of the carrier. So there's no point for to give up my position and let that minx just start firing at me from the smoke for no reason. Now, however, like I said, the kiting only works if you allow it to, and he eventually has to turn back in. He's got to either angle to them or me as we get our high caliber. And you can see, it paid off just not shooting. I got much more damage than I would have been firing probably a million times and not getting a whole lot off of them. And then again, we go dark here so that we go dark so we're not spotted here for a second. But we're going to take another shot at Andrea Doria. Then the minx pops up. So again, we know he's still there. And like I said, I assume he's coming in to take the B cap. So I want to be in a good position here to actually defend the B cap so we can't lose. Now, granted, the time is coming down now, but had this been closer where maybe Andrea Doria kills one of our guys and it's going to come down to the wire instead of it, if it's 3-3, players and it doesn't switch there at the end like it did, you never know. I might actually have to defend this cap, as you're going to see here. I did put myself in a good position for this minx, but I will say this minx, really good job of dodging. I thought he was focused on the other battleship and wasn't going to notice me, so I thought the shot I took wasn't a bad one. And then I am going to make myself as small as I can right now. Not for torpedoes. Minx's torpedoes aren't that amazing. I'm doing it just because there's less for him to hit right now. And then real quick here, I'm going to take one more shot at him and start to turn off. So right now I realize he can't even take it into the cap and take it if he wants to. So there's no point for him letting, to kite me again. Like I said, don't chase kiters. So that goes with destroyers, even if they're the last person there. I figured it out. The match is going to be over in a minute no matter what. As you can see, the fire, he hits me with a fire. I actually don't put it out just because it's an easy dreadnought. And also just in case he got a double fire here. But I'm going to put the mountain between me and him here. I'm going to fire one more shot. But he did pretty good. That Minx did a good job of dodging. And then, obviously understood probably didn't have much of a chance to win this match towards the end there. But we are spotted, but we have the mountain between us. And I'm just going to let this fire burn because there's, obviously it's not two fires. Also, it can help me get a dreadnought or whatever you're going for. But mainly because you get two fires at the end like that, that would have been, if I put that out right when I got it, it could have been trouble if he put me on fire again. So, anyway, you're going to see here, we're going to get our Dreadnought, our High Caliber, and we had two Dev Strikes, which, I'm not a big damage guy, but 100,000 damage is solid at the tier, particularly when one of them kills is all the damage on a Fubuki. We fully killed one of the destroyers. So, anyway, a pretty solid game. West Virginia's a very solid tanky ship with no complaints on it whatsoever. Very good ship. Top of the leaderboard, as you can see. We definitely helped our team win. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time. Have a good one.